This afternoon, we're talking about a topic that's stirring up division within the scientific community. Generative AI is now being used to design functional viruses. It's a breakthrough that could open the door to new medical treatments, but also new biosecurity risks. David Dodd is the CEO of the vaccine developer GeoVax. He's joining us to talk about this. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So first, tell us about your company and what it is you guys do.
Well, we're a company that are developing infectious disease vaccines as well as cancer therapies against solid tumor cancers. We've got a number of products. In fact, we have a program against Mpox and smallpox vaccine that's going to be going into its final stage, known as phase 3 testing at the end of this year, fourth quarter. And then we have another product that is advancing in against first line head and neck cancer therapy. So we're in those two areas, what we're doing.
Yeah, I want to get to the real meat of this breakthrough, right? Scientists at Stanford University have used AI to design viruses, and we're talking about functional viruses. For people are hearing this and they go, wait, what is that? What does that mean?
Well, with what we've gone through and what we've heard and witnessed even very recently in terms of gain of function, all these other, we all are very suspicious when we hear something such as this. I'm not a scientist, but I've been in this industry for 40 plus years. And what they have done is they are working with what is known as a bacteriophage. Bacteriophages, those are a form, is a virus. A bacteriophage is a virus that attaches to bacteria cells, and they inject their genomic structure in there. Now that sounds sort of, I'm a little bit worried about that. It's injecting it in there. However, bacteriophages have been around since the early 20th century, so over 100 years. And they lost favor in terms of application for uses, or went out of favor as antibiotics came into favor against bacterial infections now, especially after World War II. However, they are the most common living organism on this entire planet. If you ask how many bacteriophages are there, it's basically 10 to the third with 31 zeros behind that. I don't even know how you pronounce that. So they are very common. They're in nature. You find them everywhere. And in the value of looking at them against bacterial infections, which is what triggered this work for the people at Stanford, et cetera, is that they are very safe. They are unique in the sense that when they go into and they transfer their genome, so their genetic structure into that bacterial cell, and what that does is that then halts any further production of that bacterium. So it basically halts that, and it can then halt that infection. It can be much safer at a lower dose than what you would see with a typical antibiotic. So it has a lot of advantages of it. The biggest challenge is it's very difficult to be able to construct what they call a cocktail of bacteriophages so that you've got these potential treatments in there. And that's sort of the challenge. All they have really done, and yes, we need to be monitoring and have transparency because of what all we're concerned about that we've been hearing in recent news and all of how things were done during the whole COVID pandemic and gain of function research and all. But frankly, what they have done is they basically used AI to be able to go through all of the data and literature that exists in the world to try and figure out what might be done against some candidates for bacterial infection. And that's what they were trying to do, is go faster, be able to pull it together. And many times with a bacteriophage, you're using a combination of them, sort of a cocktail. And what they're trying to do is accelerate that path to be able to demonstrate that. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it was relatively recently, in like 2019 or thereabouts, for the first time that the U.S. FDA allowed a candidate, so a potential use of bacteriophages rather than antibiotics against a particular bacteria. I don't know a lot about that background. I will say I was involved and worked around bacteriophages in the mid 1980s. Now, since then I've been doing a lot of other things in healthcare, but it's a very interesting technology. It's a natural. They're in nature. You find them in your gut. You find them everywhere. As I said, if you take all the living organisms in the world and you combine them, you add them up, there are more bacteriophages that just exist naturally than you would have in whatever those numbers add up to. And so it's a novel approach. But I think all of us would agree that in today's environment, with what we've learned over the last recent years of research that was going on, that maybe we didn't believe there was adequate or appropriate either transparency and or oversight so that people could look at it. That becomes the issue that the bioethicists, as I would call them, those individuals who spend their time, and it's good time spent worrying about this, because any work that is done should be governed by not only transparency but also oversight. And I think that's what will eventually be sorted out. Am I concerned about it? Not at all, because I think most people recognize that that would be the only approach that would be allowed. To me, it's a very interesting technology step going forward. Whether or not it's AI that got them there, or if it was someone that did it by going to the library and they had a great knowledge on it, to me, that's less relevant. What you get from the AI is you get the aspect of speed, and you get the benefit of perhaps a combination of them to be able to be much better than just looking at one at a time. So I think that's the value of the AI. And
Yeah,
I
it's an
would
interesting
first ask,
subject. Yeah, something we anticipate we'll hear a lot more about in the coming days. GeoVax CEO David Dodd, or GeoVax, excuse me, CEO David Dodd, we thank you so much for your time today.
thank you. All the best in Austin. Bye.